So, we all know building with AI is absolutely revolutionary, right? But what about managing the infrastructure behind it all? Honestly, it can feel like you're wrestling this giant beast of complexity and cost. So today, we're going to break down a new tool that's designed to tame that chaos.
Is your AI budget just completely out of control? I mean, this is the question on every single AI team leader's mind. You're out there pushing the boundaries of innovation, which is awesome. But are your cloud bills and hardware costs also pushing the boundaries of your budget? It's a huge, huge pain point for so many people.
And really, this gets to the core of the issue. Look, the demand for AI is just skyrocketing, which is fantastic news for all of us. But the operational reality, managing all those super expensive GPUs and these complex deployments, well, it's creating a massive drag. It slows down innovation, it blows up budgets, and it ends up being a real barrier to getting things done.
Okay, get ready for this number, because frankly, it's a bit shocking. 40%. That's the typical idle time for those incredibly expensive GPUs that companies are either buying or renting. Just think about that. 40% of the time, they're just sitting there. That is a massive amount of wasted money and power.
So you gotta ask, how do you fix a problem like that? Well, this is where AgentaFlow Community Edition comes into the picture. The best way to think about it is like a purpose-built operating system, designed specifically to bring some order to this chaotic new world of AI infrastructure.
All right, so what is AgentaFlow exactly? Well, at its core, it's an open-source platform that orchestrates pretty much everything. It's designed to manage all your AI workloads, optimize how they run so you can actually save money, and this is super important, it gives you a really clear window into what's actually happening under the hood.
Okay, that all sounds great, but how does it actually do all that? Well, AgentaFlow is built on what they call 3 core pillars of optimization. Let's break them down one by one and see how they really tackle this problem.
Pillar number 1 is all about intelligent GPU orchestration. So we're talking about the hardware itself. And the goal here is super simple. Squeeze every last drop of performance out of those expensive GPUs, and you guessed it, stop that 40% waste we were just talking about.
And here's how it pulls that off. First, it uses smart scheduling to send jobs to the best available GPU. Maybe that's the one that's least busy, or maybe it's the one that's a perfect fit for that specific job. It also plugs right into Kubernetes, which, if you use it, you know that's a huge deal. It then queues up and distributes the work efficiently across your whole cluster. And it does all of this while monitoring everything, utilization, memory, even temperature in real time. Pretty smart, right?
All right, on to pillar number 2, AI model serving optimization. See, it's not just about training the models, right? You have to actually serve them to your users, and that's where costs can just spiral out of control. So AgentaFlow really hones in on making that whole inference process cheaper and a whole lot faster.
And it does this with some really clever tricks. For instance, it uses intelligent request batching, so it groups incoming user requests together to process them way more efficiently. It also has smart caching, so if it gets a frequent request, it can just serve up the result without having to recompute it every single time. And of course, it load balances all the traffic to make sure no single model instance gets totally overwhelmed. The whole design, from top to bottom, is about minimizing the cost of every single prediction you make.
And that brings us to the third and final pillar, comprehensive observability. You know the old saying, you can't optimize what you can't see, and that's exactly what this is about. It's all about giving you total visibility into the performance, the health, and maybe most importantly, the cost of your entire AI stack.
And we're talking about some seriously enterprise-grade stuff here. It integrates right into industry standards like Prometheus and Grafana, so you get these beautiful dashboards pretty much right out of the box. You can set up real-time alerts for any problems, you get super detailed cost tracking, down to the GPU hour, or even by the number of tokens used. Plus, it has open telemetry for deep distributed tracing when you need to debug those really tricky issues. It's just full visibility.
Okay, so that's the how it works. But what does this all mean for you? What's the real-world impact on your team and, let's be honest, your budget? Let's get into the numbers, because they're pretty impressive.
First up, 3 to 5x. That's a 3 to 5 times increase in your model serving throughput. And that comes directly from that intelligent request batching we talked about. What that means in plain English is you can serve way more users with the exact same amount of hardware. That's a game changer. Next, how about a 50% reduction in latency? Yep, up to 50%. This comes straight from that smart caching. And for your users, well, that means faster, more responsive AI applications, and that is a massive win for user experience.
And look at that, we've come full circle, right back to this number, 40%. That intelligent GPU scheduling we covered, it directly attacks that idle time problem, leading to up to a 40% reduction. And that translates directly into slashing hardware waste and saving a ton of money.
So let's just tie this all together real quick. It's pretty clear, right? Each piece has a direct impact. The GPU scheduling, that optimizes how you use your hardware, which slashes waste and costs. The serving optimization, that gives you higher throughput, so you can serve more users faster. The observability pillar gives you that full, critical visibility into performance and costs. And maybe best of all, the Kubernetes integration means it fits seamlessly into the workflow you're probably already using.
Now, this isn't just some cool one-off open source project. There's a really clear vision for the future here, and it's built on a classic, proven open core model.
So here's how it works. You have the Community Edition, which is super powerful and it's free forever. That's designed to drive wide adoption. But then, for larger organizations that need more, there's the Enterprise Edition. This adds key features like advanced FinOps, which are basically financial operations tools to help you manage your cloud spend, plus things like role-based access control for security, multi-cloud management, audit logs, and of course, dedicated support with an SLA.
And they've laid out a really clear roadmap, too. In the first 6 months or so, they're focused on building out those core enterprise features. Then, they'll launch the Pro tier and start building multi-cloud support. And looking further out, the plan is to add support for non-NVIDIA hardware, think AMD and AWS custom chips, and just scale the whole thing up.
So all of this brings us to one final, really important question. What could you build if infrastructure just wasn't a barrier anymore? Because that's the real goal here. The whole point of a platform like AgentaFlow is to make the underlying infrastructure so efficient and so easy that it basically disappears. It's about freeing up your teams to stop wrestling with servers and start focusing on what actually matters, building the next incredible generation of AI.